No one told me that playing a male ghost would require losing my virginity. And it's to a man. If it weren't for the pressure of life, who would work part-time as a male ghost in a room escape game while in college? I was doing my duty. When a young couple walked in front of me, I lifted the red curtain and suddenly shouted at them. Both the couple were successfully scared by me. I was just happy when the boy ignored the still, screaming girl and pulled me away. Why is he pulling me? For the first time as a ghost, I was scared by a customer. In the dark, I was pulled and ran, screaming, "Are you going to beat me? Scaring you is just my job. Brother, don't take it seriously." Before I could explain, he turned around and kissed me. I was pressed against the wall. My mind went blank, and my lips were mercilessly kissed. He said, "Don't be afraid, wife. I'm here." "Who's your wife? You've got the wrong person. I'm a man." I couldn't see his face clearly in the dark. I wanted to push him away, but I couldn't match his strength. I was firmly pressed against the wall and kissed for half an hour. My legs went weak. When he let go, I had already given up struggling and slid limply to the ground. I was kissed to tears. After the game ended and I saw his handsome and calm face, I understood this half hour was the limit of the remaining game time, not his limit. Before he left with his girlfriend, he calmly apologized to me. "I'm really sorry, buddy. I kissed the wrong person." This made me, who was sobbing in front of the boss, look like a shy young wife. His model-like face was comparable to that of a celebrity. I wiped away my tears. "It's okay, bro. I'm not at a loss. It's just that I feel sorry for your wife. You've messed with me. Well, you've messed with Cotton." Before leaving, I thought I was seeing things. I saw this guy give me a subtle and flirtatious look. I cried all the way back to school. When I got to the dorm, my red eyes gave me away. My roommate was on high alert. "What kind of part-time job did you do outside? You look so humiliated, as if you've been defiled. Do you have a gambling father, a sick mother, a younger sister who's in school, and a broken self?" I rubbed my eyes. "No, it's just sand in my eyes." When I opened my eyes again, I saw the man who had just kissed me. On my roommate's phone screen, one of my roommates held up the phone and showed it to everyone in the dorm. "Have you seen the confession wall? This guy doesn't seem to be from our school, but at least a dozen people have posted about him on the confession wall. James in the dorm is a gay who likes to claim to be straight. His eyes were full of infatuation. He's so handsome that even a straight guy like me is smitten. He's so handsome that I want to call him husband. I really want to date him." I pursed my lips, took off my clothes, and hung them on the edge of the bed. "Don't even think about it. He has a girlfriend." James quickly gathered around. "What? Do you actually know him?" "I don't know him. I've just seen him with his girlfriend." I changed into a comfortable tracksuit and went downstairs to buy food. As soon as I stepped out of the dormitory corridor, I saw the person in that photo. Like me, he was wearing a simple and elegant tracksuit, but he wore it more stylishly. I wondered who he was waiting for. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. He rushed over and grabbed my hand. "Finally, I've waited for you." An apology? I pulled my hand out of his palm. "Actually, it's okay." The man awkwardly retracted his hand hanging in the air. "I'm really sorry about what happened just now. How about I treat you to a meal? I have a phobia of trendy guys." He was wearing a tracksuit but also paired it with an earring. There was a faint smell of perfume on him. It seemed that there was a gap between us. I dodged a bit and perfunctorily replied to him, "All right, if I'm free later." "When is later?" "Seize the day. Let's do it today." I took him to the school cafeteria. The man's name is Henry. Having a meal with him, I deeply felt how high his rate of turning heads was. I was sweating all over while eating, but he's a nice guy. He also doesn't like coriander, just like me. After the meal, we went from being a bit awkward at the beginning to hitting it off later, and even added each other as friends. He said it was a case of no misunderstanding, no acquaintance, and that having more friends means having more paths in life. After the meal, he walked me back to the dormitory. Before going to bed at night, I received a message from him. "Good night. Why does it feel like something's not quite right? There are 6 guys in my dorm, including my childhood friend. None of the guys have ever sent me the words good night before going to bed. Isn't it a bit too ambiguous for 2 men to send each other good night?" But when I saw Henry's super trendy profile picture, maybe it's popular among trendy guys to say good night to each other as brothers. So I politely sent a good night message back. When I woke up the next day and saw the message from Henry saying good morning, I fell into deep thought. Are all trendy guys like this? In order not to seem like a country bumpkin, I also sent a good morning message back. Just like that. In the next few days when Henry went back to his school for classes, we sent each other good morning and good night greetings every day. There were no other chat records, just a clean and straightforward row of repeated words. Until Friday night, Henry asked me, Are you free? Let's have a meal together. Those in my dorm who have girlfriends can't wait to go out and stay in a hotel with their girlfriends today. Where's his girlfriend? Aren't you going to accompany your girlfriend? She's got something to do. I'm quite bored by myself. There's no one in the dorm. Everyone else has someone to accompany them, although I got along well with him. After all, we weren't that familiar. So I hesitated a bit. He sent me another message. It's so dark in the dormitory. It seems that there's a power outage. It sounded quite pitiful. So I agreed. Henry quickly took a taxi to our school. He said he wanted to try the stir-fried shrimp tails outside our school. I was still struggling to peel the shell of the 5th shrimp tail with my mouth when Henry put several peeled shrimps on my plate. Seeing that you're peeling slowly. I peeled them, by the way. Oh my god. Guys with girlfriends are really considerate. Thank you. Henry smiled and filled my glass with wine. Then shall we have a toast? All night long, no matter what I said, he always replied with the sentence. He clinked glasses with me one after another until I was really dead drunk and couldn't walk. He, with a straight body, leaned towards my face and said to me, "What should I do? I'm a bit dizzy. It seems I can't go back. Is your dormitory bed big enough for the two of us to sleep in?" With the width of our dormitory bed, wouldn't two guys have to lie on top of each other if they slept in one bed? No way, no way. Henry paid the bill first, and it was him who came to find me. I couldn't let him suffer by going back to my shabby dormitory to sleep in a small bed. I patted my pocket. "I'll book you a hotel room nearby. You can stay here, and I'll go back." Henry seemed a bit disappointed because he couldn't visit my dormitory. After checking in, Henry asked me if I wanted to go up for a cup of tea. "No need. I'm not drunk." I walked while holding on to the wall, and Henry grabbed the corner of my clothes again. I saw his 185-centimeter tall figure pursing his lips at me. A 178-centimeter thin guy. "Stay with me, please. I'm scared. Really can't do anything about him." "All right then, I'll stay with him." He carried me upstairs because I could hardly walk steadily. The moment the room card was inserted into the slot and the light strip lit up, looking at the big bed with white sheets in front of me, I felt strange. Is it appropriate for two boys to sleep in a king-sized bed? I originally didn't plan to stay, so I booked a king-sized bed for him. Henry put me on the bed. His warm big hand touched my ankle, and I bounced away warily. "What are you doing?" "Helping you take off your shoes." "I can do it myself." Muttering, I propped up my butt and stood up, kicked off my shoes staggeringly, and then fell headfirst onto the carpet. My mind was clear, but I just couldn't control my body. Henry carried me back to the bed again. I had a severe headache and just let him take off my socks, giving up struggling. After taking off my socks, he accidentally fell on me, with the two of us face to face. The distance between our noses was less than 10 centimeters. I felt that the look in his eyes was not innocent. Just then, his phone rang. Suddenly, I remembered that he had a girlfriend. However, he stared at my lips and swallowed his saliva, then directly hung up the phone. When I woke up, I found myself without my top on and was completely bewildered. Henry was very calm. "You soiled your clothes with vomit last night. Why don't I remember?" Although I didn't remember when I vomited, I still thanked him. After this meal, my relationship with Henry got better. Our chats were no longer limited to just saying good morning and good night, and we would also share interesting things in our lives. We chatted during the weekdays and met on weekends, and this lasted for many weeks. I thought Henry's girlfriend was quite busy, and his roommates all had partners. The dormitory was always empty on weekends, and he must have been quite lonely. James has recently fallen in love online with a hunk and is completely obsessed. He seems a bit unhappy today and is pacing around the dormitory with his phone in his arms. It's so late, and my husband still hasn't replied to my good night message. How annoying. It's unbelievable that James also sends good night messages. It turns out he's also a trendy guy. I let out a sarcastic laugh. "So you also send good night messages to men? You're so trendy." James frowned and looked at me as if I were a patient. "I don't just send good night messages to any man. Sending good night messages is a very private thing. I only send them to my husband. Sending good night messages is a very private thing?" I sneered. "You don't understand this. Trendy people often send good night messages to their brothers." James leaned over with a gossiping look on his face. "Is there a man who often sends you good night messages? Is he handsome? A trendy guy? Let me guess. You replied to him." "Yes, I did." James slapped his thigh. "You don't understand this. You've been targeted by a gay man. Watch out for your butt." "Nonsense." I retorted sharply, but subconsciously covered my butt. Henry has a girlfriend. How could he be gay? There's no doubt about it. He's a straight man. James rolled his eyes. "Why don't you believe me? Let me teach you a way." Let's make a bet to see if he's a straight man. He handed me a bottle of drink. Take a photo with the drink and send it to him, and tell him the drink is delicious. So boring. But I still did it. I'm curious how James can tell if the other person is a straight man just from a photo I sent. After sending the photo and the question, James stood there with his hands on his hips, looking confident. If he then asks you about the drink, it means he's straight. If he doesn't ask, does that mean he's gay? Let me finish. If he says your hands are nice, then he's gay. What kind of nonsense logic is this? There isn't even much of my hands in the photo. The next second, the phone vibrated and a message popped up. I swiped open the screen nervously and opened the message. Henry's messages were lined up. Why did you send me a photo today? Are you in a good mood? Will you send me a video next time? You're so cute. Completely innocent. He didn't mention anything at all. This is really a lousy and failed test. I sneered and showed the phone screen to James. But James jumped up. Oh my God. Isn't this proof enough? I ignored him, climbed onto the bed and pulled the bed curtain. I shouldn't have sent the photo, as he said. I lay down in a comfortable position and opened my phone again. There were several red dots on Henry's message box. Your hands are so white. The shape of your fingernails is so nice. William, your fingers are so delicate. Why are your knuckles so pink? I'm rather thin, so my fingers are slender. Coupled with my fair skin, the joints of my fingers will turn red slightly when bumped or touched with cold water. Thinking of what James said, I was so scared that I didn't reply to Yu's message. I turned off my phone and went to sleep. When I woke up the next day, Henry had already sent me several more messages. Are you asleep? You went to bed so early today. That's good. Go to bed early and get up early. Good morning. Are you awake? I thought it was a bit strange. If Henry is really gay, how should I get along with him? And he's a gay with a girlfriend. I didn't reply to his messages all day. After school, I went back to the dormitory alone and bumped into Henry, who came to block me downstairs of the dormitory building. Why didn't you reply to my messages? It seemed that he ran from the school gate after getting off the car. The top of his hair was a bit messy by the wind. I didn't see them. He didn't care too much. His nervous look relaxed and he smiled at me. It's Friday today. Let's go for a meal. What would you like to eat? Oh my God, William. How come? James came in time. He rushed over from an unknown direction and stood still beside me. He lowered his loud voice just now and whispered the rest of the words in my ear. Oh my God, William. How do you really know this handsome guy? Henry frowned as he watched William's head lean close to my cheek and reached out to pull me. Let's go. I'm hungry. James' eyes widened. You two are going to have a meal? His expression seemed to be asking me. Are you two so familiar? Henry directly pulled me to his side. I haven't eaten all day. I'm going to have hypoglycemia. If it were before, I would definitely have taken him to have a meal without hesitation. But things are different now. His sexual orientation needs to be investigated. So I stood back beside James. My roommate is heartbroken. I want to accompany him today, so I won't go with you. James was really heartbroken. He found out through an app that he had been cuckolded by his online dating hunk of a boyfriend. He was very sad, but on the way to the cafeteria with me, he knocked on my head all the way. You're so stupid. I don't need you to accompany me. Such a handsome guy knows you. You should get on good terms with him. When he breaks up later, introduce him to me. My heartache will heal itself without medicine. While having a meal, James felt something was wrong again. Why do I feel like he was glaring at me just now? I was still thinking about the test questions last night and confessed it to him. The guy who chatted with me last night really complimented my hands later. James wasn't very surprised. Instead, he comforted me. It's not that bad to be with a guy. You can accept his pursuit, but he has a partner. He shouldn't be pursuing me. Does a guy with a partner send you good morning and good night messages every day? I explained. Maybe he just sees me as a buddy because he said, having more friends means having more paths in life. James had his cheeks stuffed with rice, stopped his chopsticks, and his eyes blinked. Do you know there's another half to that saying? Having more partners means having more homes? Well, after that, every time Henry asked me out, I didn't dare to accept. Every Friday, I had the same excuse. My roommate is still not over his breakup. Henry got anxious. Are you really close to that roommate of yours? I replied to him. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. It took Henry a long time to reply to my message, and his words dispelled my concerns. Come out and have a meal with us today. My girlfriend wants to meet you. Ask another roommate to accompany your heartbroken roommate for now, okay? He said he was bringing his girlfriend to meet me. No one would bring their significant other to meet someone they're having an ambiguous relationship with, right? If Henry really had ulterior motives towards me, he should have kept me hidden. How could he let me meet his girlfriend? So that evening, He and his girlfriend came to my school to find me in advance. They were still standing far away, but James beside me spotted them. Wow, his girlfriend is really pretty. Hey, why do you think Henry keeps glaring at me? Is he glaring at me again? They say that intimate relationships often start with a bad first impression. If he didn't have a girlfriend, I'd even suspect that he's taken a fancy to me. I took a look, and sure enough, Henry's eyes were full of hostility. I waved my hand and told James to go back to the dormitory quickly. I had a meal with Henry and his girlfriend, and the three of us had a very harmonious conversation. After the meal, I completely dispelled the absurd doubts in my mind. They're getting along very well, right? I can't really doubt his sexual orientation just because of a casual little test by James. After that day, Henry and I returned to our previous relationship, and it was even better than before. Henry often came to the school to see me. Sometimes he bought me some food, which made James extremely envious. During this period, I fell in love with basketball, but my skills weren't very good. Henry was even more enthusiastic and came to my school to teach me in person. He's quite good at it. Henry taught seriously and played basketball handsomely, which attracted a bunch of girls to stop and watch. I drank too much water, so I asked him to shoot baskets by himself for a while and said I'd go to the toilet and come back right away. When I came out of the restroom, I ran into James lurking furtively outside the basketball court's net. When James saw me, he quickly pulled me aside, lowered his voice, and pointed in Henry's direction in the distance. I somehow feel that Henry is acting a bit strange. I was completely confused. What's strange about him? Have you ever seen a straight guy pull his white socks up that high? What? James stared intently at Henry's back as he shot the basketball. Something's off. Really off. He clearly has a girlfriend, but my gaydar is going crazy. This isn't scientific at all. You've got the wrong signal on your gaydar. I rolled my eyes. If I hadn't seen him getting along well with his girlfriend, I'd believe it. Before I went back, James grabbed the net and instructed me. Trust me. I have a gut feeling that he definitely doesn't belong to his girlfriend. Nor does he belong to that group of girls. He belongs to us men. I walked onto the court, and James followed me. I made a motion of zipping my mouth shut at him, reminding him not to say anything outrageous right in front of Henry. James obediently nodded, as if he wanted to watch us play basketball with the onlookers. When Henry saw James, he pouted and then looked at me. I don't want to play anymore. I'm hungry. Can the two of us go for a meal? Of course. We ended the game, and the group of girls surrounding us pushed between me and Henry, who was going to get the water bottle under the basket. Taking advantage of the chaos, James suddenly grabbed my sleeve. He was far from calm and hissed in my ear in a breathy voice. He's definitely gay. He is blue. I heard the blue notification sound on his phone when he turned around just now. What is blue? I just asked him, and before I could hear the answer, Henry squeezed through. James immediately shut up. When Henry and I left, I looked back and saw James mouthing two words at me, trust me. Since I couldn't say it in front of Henry, I felt that James behind me was about to cry out of anxiety. The basketball vests of Henry and I were already soaked with sweat. The two of us went to the equipment room, planning to change into clean t-shirts before going to have a meal. I quickly changed into a t-shirt. When I stuck my head out of the collar, I saw Henry staring at me motionlessly. I saw his Adam's apple rolling up and down several times as he swallowed. William, you were so fair-skinned. Oh, it's inborn. I asked casually. Why don't you take it off? Don't you find it sticky? Henry seemed to be lost in thought. He looked at me blankly and said, my hands are dirty. You should have washed your hands clean when you went to the restroom just now. So you. His eyes suddenly lit up. Will you help me take it off? Sure. What's the big deal? We're all brothers. I won't dislike him. I reached out to help him. When I took off his sweaty basketball vest, Henry suddenly lost his balance and pinned me against the wall. I was trapped in the arms of Henry, who was a few centimeters taller than me. I gasped in surprise. Henry looked at me eye to eye with his head slightly lowered. The look in his eyes was very improper. It's not looking good. In my panic, I could only keep my head down and my eyes darting around. But at this distance and from this angle, all I could see were pectoral muscles, abdominal muscles, or the biceps on his arms. Henry really has a great figure. The plump muscle lines are outlined one after another on every part of his body. He lowered his head and spoke into my ear. Sorry, I didn't stand firm. The warm breath from his mouth hit my ear and neck. He paused and then explained with two more words. Slipped. Oh. I said oh a few times, but he didn't pull back his body. Just as I was about to look up at his expression, he suddenly leaned forward and touched me. Our bodies touched, a movement similar to a frontal hug. I really felt the firmness and stiffness of his pectoral and abdominal muscles. A hoarse voice came from beside my ear. William, you smell so good. Well, let me ask, do brothers in the fraternity say that a brother smells good? A surge of current rushed into my brain, and I immediately remembered James' earnest advice. Henry, he wouldn't really. I suddenly looked up, but my nose bumped into Henry's when he lowered his head. After being in a daze for 2 seconds, Henry's breathing became more and more unsteady. I heard the sound of Henry pursing his lips and the endless desire in his eyes. My goodness. I slipped out from under his arm with a quick bend of my legs. Well, I just suddenly remembered I have something to do. I'll leave first. I ran back to the dormitory, and my mind was full of the scene just now and what James had analyzed about Henry being gay. I didn't dare to see Henry for the next few days, but then I thought again. I can't let his girlfriend be kept in the dark. The girl has done nothing wrong. She should know the truth, but I don't have his girlfriend's contact information. How can I meet his girlfriend and tell her? I had an idea and picked up my phone to send a message to Henry. There's a new horror theme in the couple's escape room where I'm working part-time. Do you want to come and try it with your girlfriend? I've rejected his invitations several times recently, but now I'm inviting him actively, and he readily agreed. It's okay if you're going to be the ghost. I'll be the ghost. Then it's okay. On the day Henry and his girlfriend came, I was lurking in the dark wearing a male ghost costume. When they passed by me, I suddenly pounced on them and let out a roar. They were so scared that they let out shrill screams. While Henry was being scared by me, I stretched out my long arm, grabbed his girlfriend and ran. To avoid suspicion, I just grabbed her clothes and ran. I took the person to a corner and closed the small door. In the darkness, I immediately tried to calm down Henry's girlfriend first. Shoo! Don't make a sound. Listen to me first. I have something important to tell you. Running too fast made me gasp for breath. I managed to calm her down while being out of breath, and propped my other hand on my knee to try to catch my breath. Henry's girlfriend patted me on the back to help me catch my breath. Thanks. No need to do that. I stood up straight. I know this may be hard to believe, and I also know you may not be able to accept it right away. But what I have to tell you is, this is cruel, but I have to say it. I paused for a moment. I have to tell you that your boyfriend is gay. In the darkness, the black figure in front of me swayed. I felt something was a bit off. How tall is Henry's girlfriend again? A deep male voice sounded in my ear. How do you know I'm gay? Oh my God, I grabbed the wrong person. I was trying to grab Henry's girlfriend, but how did I end up grabbing Henry? I just lay on the ground pretending to be dead, but Henry directly picked me up in a princess carry and rushed out. Before they left, the look in Henry's girlfriend's eyes when she looked at me was different from before. I'm really not a male homewrecker. So this time when I go back, I'm completely ignoring William's messages. Different from before. This time he can't go to my school to find me or wait for me downstairs in the dormitory. Because we're on summer vacation, I went back to my hometown, to my grandma's place. Grandma lives in a remote village far from the city. After an overnight on the green train, I wake up and I'm there. The reason I'm hiding back at grandma's is not only to visit grandma, but also a kind of psychological escape. I want to stay away from the hustle and bustle of the city and feel the tranquility of the gentle breeze in the secluded wilderness. Because I'm annoyed. I'm really annoyed. Firstly, I'm angry that Henry, who is gay, still deceives his girlfriend. Secondly, for so long I've really regarded him as a sincere brother. But maybe he is really like what James said. Sending me good morning and good night messages is not a standard for trendy guys. Maybe it's a standard for scumbags. Maybe he just wants to have one wife and one husband, multiple partners and multiple homes. And I'm the husband he chose. I hate him. I really cared so much about our friendship. I really thought I'd found a kindred spirit. I'm angry, and my mind is full of the happy times we spent together. What's the difference between breaking up with a friend and breaking up with a lover? So I came to the rural environment to relax. Grandma will ride her small tricycle with a cart full of fruits to the town to sell them during the day. She told me not to follow her and to walk around in the fields. What do you know about selling fruits, you little brat? You're just causing me trouble. Go play in the fields by yourself. Relax if you're in a bad mood. Grandma, I'm not in a bad mood. Then what's the meaning of you sitting around staring at your phone all day? Henry sends me messages every day. I put the messages on Do Not Disturb, and I've been quite comfortable these days. I'm lying on the grass with a cattail in my mouth, and a bird I can't name flies over my head. Plop. Something wet drops on my nose tip. Bird droppings? I was about to scold the bird when another splash of liquid hit my forehead. The leaves rustled as the summer wind blew. The clouds suddenly lowered, indicating the prelude to a heavy rain. Grandma is still in the town. The summer rain came on suddenly. On my way to the town in the rain, I met Grandma, who was struggling back in the wind and rain. The canopy on the tricycle was blown away by the wind. Grandma didn't notice me and tipped over into a ditch with the tricycle. I rushed over and picked up Grandma. There was no signal on my phone, and the tricycle tire was punctured. How could I get her to the hospital? I carried Grandma and ran towards the town. Dashing through the heavy rain, a black car pulled over with its hazard lights flashing. Henry rolled down the window. Get in the car. Henry had broad shoulders. It was much easier for him to carry Grandma than for me. Grandma was not seriously injured, but she got caught in the rain that night and her body couldn't take it very well. Henry stayed and took turns with me to watch over Grandma every day. Grandma's health was the most important, so I didn't refuse. But Henry seemed to have gotten used to living here. Even after Grandma recovered, he still lingered and refused to leave. He had two reasons. One was that it had been raining continuously and the muddy road was very difficult to walk on. It was easy to have an accident. The other was that the food cooked by Grandma was delicious, especially the chicken soup. Children who grew up in the city had never seen a chicken being killed. When Grandma asked me to prepare the ingredients, Henry followed me curiously to catch the chickens with a look of novelty on his face. Henry got his face covered in ashes. I had only seen Grandma catch chickens when I was a child, and we couldn't catch one for a long time. We made a bet on who would catch a chicken first. At the moment when I threw myself forward, he lay on the ground and caught me with his body. Therefore, I didn't get a mouthful of chicken feathers and didn't knock out my front teeth. I lay in Henry's arms and felt his strong chest again. The dust was flying everywhere and there were chicken feathers all over the sky. Our faces were close to each other. He looked at me and suddenly smiled. I asked you to catch chickens. Why are you catching me? Do you think I'm a chicken? I thought he was flirting with me. It was actually when I was about to fall to the ground that he voluntarily lay on the ground to catch me. Why did it sound like I did it on purpose according to what he said? I quickly got up and patted the non-existent dust on my clothes. You have evil intentions. Grandma likes Henry very much. She always serves the well-made chicken soup to Henry first. She praises Henry for being sensible, for being good at speaking, and for having excellent upbringing. I roll my eyes. He is not a good person at all. For example, right now, as soon as Grandma fell asleep, Henry, who hadn't even dried himself off, wrapped in a thin bath towel and knocked on my door. I don't open the door. He trembles with cold outside. It's so cold. I'm freezing. Let me in for a while. I really can't stand it. I open the door. Not only are there still water droplets on his body, but there is also a big lump of white shampoo on his head. What are you doing? He hugs his tall and imposing body and even tries to burrow into my arms. I quickly dodge. That's an extra charge. Henry's teeth are chattering. I was taking a shower when the water stopped. Could you go and check it out for me? One has to cross the entire yard to get from the bathroom to my room. The shower head in the old-fashioned house is very simple. And the water heater doesn't work very well either. I believe he isn't lying and follow him to fix it. But after I fix it, Henry grabs my wrist with his icy cold hand. You'd better wait for me here. I'm afraid it'll break down again. I won't agree to him. I slam the door and leave. But as a result, not long after, he knocks on the door again like a wet big dog. It's broken again. He called me pitifully. I fixed it for him again and simply waited for him at the door while he took a shower. It didn't break when I left the water running. After Henry took a shower, he was drying himself off with his back to me. I saw the bruises on his back from yesterday when he caught me. I couldn't help but feel a bit guilty. As I was thinking, I saw Henry about to bump into the door frame. I reached out to pull him, but I completely underestimated how stable he was on his feet. Not only couldn't I pull him, but I slipped forward on my feet. I fell straight to the ground, and my head hit the floor with a bang. I lost consciousness. When I woke up, Henry was taking care of me by the bedside. I looked at Henry's handsome face, his highbrow ridges and nose bridge, and his thin, light-colored lips. This guy is so handsome. Why do I want to kiss him so much? I must have been knocked silly, but as he brought me water and applied medicine to me, I smelled his familiar scent and vaguely wanted to lean on him. Why is this happening? Do people really want to rely on others so much when they're injured? But it can't be him. I tried hard to restrain these strange thoughts about him. It must be because of the dream I just had. I had an embarrassing dream when I was unconscious. I dreamed that Henry and I were entangled with each other, lips touching. The fragmented plot in the dream gave me a headache. Can a straight man dream of kissing his good buddy? Although I planned to keep my distance from him when I returned to school after the rain stopped. But everything was so strange. After waking up, my body uncontrollably wanted to get close to Henry. It was extremely embarrassing. I cursed myself inwardly and pushed away Henry. Who was applying medicine to me? Don't touch me. I will touch you. Who told you to fall like this? Henry frowned. He didn't talk to me in a compliant way as usual, and he no longer looked like he liked to play the victim. He seemed a little angry. He held me down to apply the medicine, and I pushed him away forcefully. I was afraid that I couldn't control myself from hugging him, although I didn't know why. The scenes in the dream kept piling up in my mind, and it was about to explode. There must be something wrong with my head. I have to go for an X-ray quickly. Neither of us on Henry and me gave in. After a while of pushing and shoving, I suddenly got up, and he directly pinned me on the bed. William, are you being good? He looked so fierce. I had never seen him like this before. Is he crazy? Why should I be good? Who is he to me? He is just a friend whom I will break up with again when school starts. I was pinned down and still kicked and struggled with my limbs trying to break free. Henry pressed his whole body on me and threatened me through gritted teeth. If you move again, I'll kiss you. Don't think you can scare me. I didn't stop moving, and he smiled, then directly tried to press his lips against mine. Realizing that he was serious, I screamed and cursed. You idiot. You have a partner but still want to kiss me. Henry suddenly froze, released his hands that were holding me, then smiled again, and got up to get his phone. Oh right? Then I'll break up now. It's done. Henry put down his phone and trapped me again as I was about to run away. But he hesitated when he was about to kiss me. Maybe it was because he saw my terrified face that was too exhausted to resist, and he felt pity. Maybe his conscience awoke and he realized how despicable he was. Henry didn't kiss me anymore, but he also didn't let me go. He wanted me to stay in his bed tonight, under the pretext of being afraid that you'll be woken up by the pain from your injuries at night and taking care of you. It was no use for me to disagree because I was no match for his strength at all. I tried hard to stay awake but was finally defeated by sleepiness and headache and fell into a dream. My head was dizzy and my thoughts were in a mess. I dreamed that I was lingering and kissing Henry, and we were a couple on the verge of life and death separation. I dreamed that I was in a car accident and that I was covered in blood. I dreamed that Henry was holding me and crying loudly. I was scared by the nightmare and opened my eyes and kicked Henry. I wanted to leave this room. Before I could even get out of bed, I was pinned down again by Henry, who hadn't fallen asleep all this time. William, don't run away. I'm scared. He said, don't leave me, overlapping with the memories in the dream. My head aches. Henry is breathing in my ear. William, have you remembered something? I heard you talking in your sleep. Have you remembered me a little? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Henry said a bunch of things I didn't understand. The doctor said to let you remember slowly, but my method seems to be a bit too conservative. I think I need to change the treatment method. Maybe I should let your body remember me first. My lips were blocked, and I was tightly hugged by Henry, with a series of passionate kisses. The desire of my body to have physical contact with Henry since the head injury was instantly satisfied. I heard Henry keep asking me, have you remembered me? Have you remembered me? Until his tears wet my face. Looking at my dazed self, he endured the impulse to go crazy again and gently kissed my forehead. Forget it. It doesn't matter if you can't remember. I'll pursue you again. I was kissed messily. Even though it seemed very touching, there was only one sentence in my mind. Henry has really gone crazy. Henry's girlfriend told me afterwards that because the shop where I worked part-time was a theme escape room for couples only, Henry had to ask her to help pretend to be a couple. Knowing this, I let out a sigh of relief. Regardless of whether I remember Henry or not, at least I can rightfully accept his pursuit. I'm not a male homewrecker, and I'm proud of it. It was after the new semester started that I truly remembered Henry when he took me to play escape room again. Since he kissed me last time, he always says some strange things. For example, at this moment, he is arguing with the boss of this new escape room that he is my boyfriend and that the two of us boys are a couple. The boss finally let us play the couple-themed game. Maybe it's the suspension bridge effect. When Henry and I were shuttling through the long and dark corridor, I felt a little flutter in my heart. I used to treat him as just a friend when getting along with him. Now it seems that I can try a different relationship. He was sticking close to me and groping forward with me. It was so quiet around that we could hear each other's heartbeats. A ghost jumped in front of us just in time. Henry grabbed my hand and ran. The moment our fingers intertwined, I even forgot to scream, pressed against each other in the darkness. I couldn't see his face clearly, just like the first time Henry kissed me in my memory. Without hesitation, he turned around and kissed me. In the short and rapid breaths, my mind went blank, and a memory overlapping with my dream flooded in. Henry is my boyfriend. After the car accident, I hit my head and lost my memory. Henry tried to wake up my memory. The first thing he thought of was to kiss me forcefully in the escape room. because the first time I established a relationship with him was when I secretly kissed the corner of his mouth in the escape room. The first attempt to wake up my memory failed, but this time it succeeded. The doctor later said it might be related to the injury on the back of my head last time. Remembering everything, I actively wrapped my arms around Henry's head and deepened the kiss. Henry, I've remembered you, boyfriend. As a result, we were scolded by the boss with a blushing face. Do you know there are surveillance cameras in the escape room? How crazy has this world become? My escape room is not your playground. I'm not part of your game. The boss seemed a bit on the verge of tears. Henry and I apologized for half an hour. The one most shocked by Henry being with me was James. What? You actually secretly dated my ideal type behind my back? Sorry, actually we've been dating for a long time. When I was dating Henry before, I wasn't that close to James. It's normal that I didn't tell him. Humph. Damn it. You fake straight guy. James crossed his arms in anger, but still offered to help me brush up on the knowledge and essentials of the relationship between men. Actually, I wanted to say it wasn't necessary. I seem to have remembered, but because I was too lazy to explain why I used to claim to be straight, I listened to his serious teachings all night. He said he was very good at being the bottom. After hearing that, I thought he was right. Compared to him, I really need to improve. Henry came to pick me up after school. He said, "Forget it, the man that I can't have. It's better to let my friend have him than an outsider." Since Henry knew that James was the submissive one, he felt much more at ease about him. My life returned to the sweet daily routine with Henry before the car accident, until someone posted on the school confession wall that I was a male home wrecker. Some people said they had seen Henry with a girlfriend, and some said they had seen me and Henry go out alone and book a big bedroom. Everyone scolded me for knowing he had a girlfriend and still getting involved. A story began to spread throughout the school. It was said that Henry, a straight guy from another school, was seduced and lured by me to become gay, and he dumped his ex-girlfriend and got together with me. The third party. They gave me a nickname. Husband. Say something. As soon as James heard the news, he rushed into the dormitory. He was already used to being the supporter of my and Henry's love. "William, is it true? Did you force his ex-girlfriend away?" I said I'm not. James went on a rant in the comments section of the confession wall. "Impossible. My CP is real. I witnessed it with my own eyes." But one man's words couldn't stand against the crowd, and his comments were soon bombarded and drowned out. After school, James went to Henry angrily to complain. "Go and have a look at our school's confession wall. Your boyfriend has been called a home wrecker." Henry frowned and scrolled for a long time, then commented with his real name account. "There's been a misunderstanding. I've always only been with William. I've never been in a relationship with that girl." Some people in the comments section still didn't believe it and said I was the homewrecker who came later. Henry replied to them, "I've known William since childhood. We even have pictures of us wearing open crotch pants." "What? Do you want to take a look?" Henry spoke in a bad tone. After being confronted by the person involved, the other side had no words to refute. The trend in the comments section changed. I don't know which shocking schoolmate said something astonishing. Wait, didn't Henry just say he could show us the pictures of him and William wearing open crotch pants? So the comments section was filled with the same thing. Let's have a look. Such a farce ended comically like this. Henry hugged me tightly in his arms and gave me a kiss. "It's Friday. How about staying out tonight? By the way, when we graduate, let's bring Grandma here. I'm not at ease with her being alone." He stroked my head, and I nodded. "Okay." At night, I knocked on Henry's bathroom door and joked with him. "Brother, open the door. I'm your sister-in-law. You really need a good spanking." "You made up your own sister-in-law.